What if an entire region, its trade, its culture, its survival, depended on one animal? Not a horse, not an ox, but the camel. For over 3,000 years, the camel didn't just carry people through deserts, it carried civilizations. It shaped trade routes, determined political power, influenced religion, and made life in one of the harshest environments on Earth possible. So today we ask a simple but bold question. No camel, no Middle East? Let's find out. The Middle East has always been a land of extremes. Water was scarce, temperatures swung wildly, and for most animals, traveling long distances through this climate was nearly impossible. Before the camel, people survived locally, moving from well to well, oasis to oasis. Trade existed, yes, but it was slow and fragile. Animals like donkeys tired quickly. Horses needed constant water and shade. The domestication of camels changed everything. Archaeologists debate the exact timeline, but by around 2000 BCE, people in the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa were already working closely with these animals. And why? Because the camel is a biological miracle. Camels can lose up to a third of their body weight in water and keep walking. They can drink 30 gallons at once and keep going for days. Their humps store fat, not water, energy reserves for long journeys. Their feet spread on sand like natural snowshoes. Their nostrils close against dust storms. Even their eyelashes protect them from blowing sand. But the real revolution was endurance. A camel caravan could travel for weeks without constant access to water. This meant new trade routes could finally cross the Arabian interior. Camels unlocked the Arabian Peninsula in the same way ships unlocked the Mediterranean. Suddenly, tribes could travel farther and faster. Small settlements became connected. Trade expanded. And with new connections came new wealth. Tribes discovered they could control routes instead of struggling for survival. Some became middlemen between powerful civilizations: Mesopotamia, Persia, Egypt, and the Levant. A region once seen as empty desert suddenly had strategic value. Why? Because camels turned sand into highways. It moved ideas, languages, poetry, spiritual traditions, and early political alliances. The camel wasn't just an animal, it was infrastructure. From the 8th century BCE through the 2nd century CE, camel caravans fueled one of the most profitable trade networks the ancient world had ever seen: the incense routes. Frankincense and myrrh, grown in what is now Yemen, Oman, and parts of the Horn of Africa, were worth more than gold. They were burned in temples from Babylon to Athens, used in ceremonies from Jerusalem to Rome, and demanded by empires everywhere. And who carried them across 1,500 miles of desert? Camels. A single caravan could include hundreds, sometimes thousands, of camels. And the tribes who controlled these caravans, like the Nabateans, became wealthy and powerful. Petra, the famous stone city, was not just a wonder of architecture. It was a camel-powered trade hub. Camels made Petra rich. Camels made Yemen rich. Camels made the entire Arabian interior economically relevant. Without camels, these cities would have remained isolated. With camels, they became global players in ancient trade. When people think of ancient warfare, they picture horses. But in Arabia and parts of the Middle East, camels changed the rules of battle. Camel cavalry, especially in Arabia, offered new advantages. They could travel for days without water. They moved silently at night. Their height intimidated enemy horses, who were unfamiliar with the camel's smell, and they could strike quickly across terrain that chariots or horses couldn't cross. This mobility reshaped tribal politics. Alliances, battles, negotiations, everything revolved around who had camels and how many. Power was determined not by land, but by control of caravan routes, wells, and the camel herds needed to secure them. Also, in many ways, the camel was the desert's version of a supermarket. It provided almost everything people needed. Camel milk was a vital source of hydration and nutrition, rich in vitamin C. Camel meat was eaten on special occasions or long journeys. Camel hair was turned into tents, blankets, and ropes. Camel hides became containers and leather goods. Even camel dung was used as fuel when no wood could be found. A single animal could support a family's survival, especially nomadic groups who needed portable resources. By the medieval period, the camel was the backbone of trade from Morocco to Iraq. It linked regions that horses could never cross. In North Africa, camel caravans crossed the Sahara, connecting West Africa to the Mediterranean world. The gold and salt trade of Timbuktu relied on camels. In the Arabian Gulf, camels transported pearls and goods from coastal towns deep into the peninsula. In the Levant, camels moved textiles and spices from Syria toward Anatolia and beyond. By now, the camel was far more than a desert animal. It was the world's most important long-distance trade engine. The camel is embedded deeply in Middle Eastern spirituality. In Judaism, Abraham, Jacob, and other patriarchs used camels as symbols of wealth and blessing. In Christianity, the camel appears in stories like the Nativity, where wise men traveled by camel across the East. In Islam, the camel holds both practical and symbolic importance. One famous teaching encourages people to tie your camel and trust in God, a reminder to combine faith with responsibility. In all three traditions, the camel is woven into stories of travel, trade, generosity, migration, and devotion. Across centuries, the camel shaped cultural identity in profound ways. Hospitality, because travelers relied on camel caravans for safety. Poetry, because desert poets celebrated their loyal camels. Clothing, because camel hair and leather were essential. Even food traditions, milk, yogurt, butter, were camel-based in many regions. People didn't just use camels, they lived with them. They traveled with them. They raised them. They praised them in songs and proverbs. The camel became a symbol of endurance, survival, and life in the desert. By the 20th century, trucks, railroads, and modern roads replaced large camel caravans. But the camel didn't disappear. In parts of the Middle East, they still serve as livestock, racing animals, cultural icons, and sources of milk. Camel racing became a popular sport. Camel milk is now a global health product. Tourism keeps camel culture alive from Jordan to Oman. Even today, Bedouin communities maintain traditions that revolve around camel care, breeding, and craftsmanship. The camel's role may be smaller now, but its impact remains enormous. So, is it true? Could the Middle East have developed without the camel? Technically, yes. Civilizations existed before camels. But would the region look anything like it does today? Probably not. Without camels, trade would have been slower. Cities like Petra and Mecca might never have flourished. The Arabian interior would have remained isolated. The spread of ideas, including major religions, would have been far more limited. Cultures, economies, and political systems would have developed differently. The camel didn't build skyscrapers or empires, but it made them possible. It carved roads across sand. It fueled economies. It shaped the identity of entire peoples. So yes, the more we study history, the clearer it becomes. No camel, no Middle East. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed exploring the travel history of the camel, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and explore more of our travel history series. History is full of lost places waiting to be discovered, and we'll take you there.